Hello, lovely people. Today we're going to be talking about measuring microphones. We're going to go through different types of microphones that there are, how to use them, and at the end, I'm going to try to somehow compare them. Maybe make like a frequency response measurement, measure the floor noise or something like that. But in general, measure microphones. They're used, as you know, to capture the frequency response when we tune our cars. And a lot of people ask like, what's the best one, which one to choose, how to choose, and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go through all of them, and I'm gonna try to explain it to you. So there are basically three types of microphones. You have uh, these ones, which is the simplest version. So this specific one is the Dayton Audio IMM6. There's a similar one without this extension, I think it's called IMM6S. It's made for like Apple devices, but this is going to work with any kind of device that has a 3.5 mil jack plug. So these are the simplest ones, they're the smallest ones, and they're the cheapest ones. So this specific one, it cost me £25, and I think in America is a bit cheaper because Dayton is an American company. So in America, it's like somewhere between $22 and $25 or something like that. So this is the cheapest thing. And with these, they're extremely simple to use. It has a jack plug. You can use it with a smartphone that has a 3.5 mil jack. You just plug it in and you have a calibrated microphone. So all of these microphones come with a calibration file. So for the Dayton one, you go to Dayton webpage, you enter the serial number, which is on this one. It's here. That's the serial number. You enter this number, and Dayton is going to give you a file to download, and that one is going to be your calibration file. What I like about this is the compact size. Yeah, it's very small, and with extension cable, I plug it in my laptop. So I use this microphone for almost 2 years. This is the first one that I bought, and I still tune it with it because it's very simple to use. So the other microphone that is similar in design is the Audio Frog. So Audio Frog mic is a 3.5 mil mic, similar dimensions, just without this extension, and it has a USB sound card, which is this one. So I have it as well. So you can use this mic plugged directly into your laptop with extension cord, 3.5 mil, or you can buy something like this. So this is an audio card that you have 3.5 mil jack. You plug this in, and this end goes into your laptop, and it becomes like a USB microphone, and it's exactly the same principle as Andy's Audio Frog mic. Yeah, what I have as well, I have an extension cord, a USB extension cord. I plug this in as well, and then I have very simple system, which is along like 2 meters, 6 foot, something like that. And it's easy, it's very light. When you like wave it around, it doesn't take a lot of space. So I love this mic. Yeah, so that's the first one, the cheapest one. So with all of this, like extension cord, this external USB audio card, I bought it for I think £7 or £8. So that's like what, $10-15. So add this and that, and you have something in the ballpark of maybe $40 max, and you have yourself a calibrated measuring microphone. All of these microphones use same size 6 mm capsule that's inside. It's omnidirectional capsule, so you can use it 90 degrees, or you can use it on axis. I believe this one has a 90-degree calibration file. The others don't have it, so they have only like on axis calibration file. So this is the simplest one. I love it. Very cheap. If you want to start measuring your car and you don't want to spend extra money, just get this one, Dayton IMM6, and use it. Extremely nice microphone. So that's the first option. The other step up in price, in quality maybe, is a different type of microphone. It's kind of different type, but kind of the same. So this one is 3.5mm jack, yeah? This is a mini DSP, UMIC 1. This is again the calibration serial number. You enter this serial number and it gives you a calibration file. And this microphone is bigger, but it's a USB microphone. So this microphone costs, I think, $80 or $90 US. In UK, it's a bit more expensive. It's over £100, like £120 or something, because you have to import it, that kind of stuff. And it comes just a microphone and a USB cable, long USB cable. You plug this in into the mic. It's a mini USB jack, like that, and the other end goes into your laptop, and it's a USB microphone. So exactly the same. You have a Dayton Audio UMM6. That's a USB mic as well. So same principle, yeah. The plus size of this is, the positives of this, it's it has like a mini stand as well. So with this stand as well, I'm gonna just very quickly mention, you can use it like a small stand. What I just do like this. I push this in. Let me just put it like that. I push this in between the headrest and the seat, and I clamp it with the headrest. So if I want to measure like this or like up, clamp it with the headrest, and it's like this. If you want, you can unscrew this and you can use any kind of typical mic stand that you can buy for like, I don't know, 10, 15, $20. And you can put it like the mic stand on the seat and you can screw this in. Yeah. So the good thing about a USB microphone is that it's extremely easy to use. So with this, you need like extension cables, that kind of stuff. But with this, you don't need anything. It's plug and play. It doesn't need any drivers, nothing. So the audio card, which is for this one, that external one, the audio card, is inside the microphone. Yeah, so you don't need to buy anything else. You plug and play. Simple as that. Extremely easy to use. Another positive side about this, the mini DSP, all the USB microphones, since they have an inbuilt audio card, it has its own like the audio card calibration for the level, for the volume. So whatever you're measuring with the mini UMIC or UMM6, or I don't know, there's others as well probably, the dB reading that you're going to have in REW is going to be actual dB reading, because like with this, it's not going to be the same. With all of these XLR mics, we're going to go to them a bit later, they're not going to be correct. You have to calibrate the SPL level. But with USB microphones, the level is calibrated. So in case you need it, because I don't know why you would need it, but in case you need it, it's calibrated. But it's extremely similar to use, cheap, again, $80, $90. Very, one of the most popular mics probably ever. Mini DSP. There's a version 2, UMIC 2, which is a more expensive mic. I think it's like maybe like $200 or something like that. So that is, it's better. It has a different capsule, which a lot of people say that it is better as well. It's more linear if you need it to be more linear. But like, guys, to be honest, we're measuring cars. It's not scientific like equipment. You don't need lab grade rule of flatness. What it is, it's plenty enough. So these are USB microphones, yeah? Very simple to use, plug and play. Now, I'm gonna put this back because I don't want to lose it. Now we're gonna go to the other end of the spectrum, price-wise and quality, is an XLR microphone. So XLR microphones, I have two of them. I have this one, which is Dayton Audio EMM6. So IMM6, there's a Dayton USB UMM6, and this is EMM6. So this is an XLR microphone. It has balanced output, and these types of microphones, they need an external device which is called an audio interface. You cannot plug this into a laptop. You cannot use it by itself. You have to use some kind of audio device. So I have for myself a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. Again, one of the most popular devices. It has two inputs, two outputs, and it goes into the laptop. So what is so good about these? Oh, the second one I have as well is Nadi CM100. So Adam, I don't know if you know Adam, Orange Corsa Fanta, the European champion that won third place this year in EMA. He was very, very nice and calibrated this microphone against his, I don't know how it's called, I think it's called Semicon, which is uber expensive mic. So I have a calibration file because this one specifically doesn't come with a calibration file. The Dayton one comes with a calibration file itself, but this one doesn't. So these XLR microphones, they, in theory, they have superior noise rejection because they're using balanced inputs. Some of them are extremely affordable, and some of them cost you an arm and a leg. Yeah. So for example, this Dayton Audio, I didn't check the price for this one, but it's not that expensive. I think it's like $60 or $80. I don't want to lie, but it's not that expensive. This Nadi, I think it's like $100 US. I bought it on eBay for 20-30 pounds because like it was used but kind of brand new. So these are cheap, but you can get an XLR microphone for literally thousands of dollars, and that is like lab grade, calibrated to 0.1 dB and that kind of stuff. Now the question is, do you need it? Probably not. So with these XLR microphones, some of them, as I mentioned, come with a calibration file. Some are not calibrated. So the Dayton comes with a calibration file, exactly the same. You have a serial number, you go to the website and you download it. The other ones, like this Nadi, or the other one I had it, but I sold it. It's called Behringer UCM or UMC 8000. That is a super cheap mic. In UK, it retails for like 25 pounds, 20 pounds. There's as well, I think it's called the Superlux 8000, which is like, they are basically copies of each other. They're using the same capsule, same body, even like these. If you look, they're exactly the same. The only difference you can tell from outside is just the branding. Even these two dots are the same. Is the capsule the same? I don't know. So some of them come with calibration, some without. This Nadi and the Behringer comes without calibration file. So they are advertised as linear measuring, and they are mostly used like in pro audio, where you don't have maybe time to load calibrations files, and the actual flatness is not that important, which you can allow yourself to have like maybe 2 dB difference or whatever. So some of them come even cheapest, especially the cheapest ones, without calibration file. But as I mentioned, you have calibration files. So for the microphones themselves, some of them are quite cheap, as I mentioned. So they can be much cheaper than the UMIC. They can be on the same level as the IMM6, that one. But some of them can be extremely expensive. Now, the con of an XLR microphone, as I mentioned, you need to have an audio interface. So this audio interface, this specific one, I bought it very cheap for like 40 pounds. Because it's used by people that record audio at home, like they have like a mini studio or like a guitar or whatever. They plug in instruments, and on Facebook Market there's loads of them. So this one, as I mentioned, I paid it cheap, but it retails, I think, for 250 pounds, something like $200, $220. Maybe you can find it somewhere cheaper. But this is like, it's a more expensive one. You can get a Behringer, which is a German brand. They make microphones as well, so the Behringer mic, and you can get a very similar looking to input interface for 50 pounds, so like a quarter of the price. They're much cheaper, and they have like a few different models, so you can choose. and the models vary sample rate and bitrate and quality and that kind of stuff. So most of them, I don't know if all of them, come with 2 inputs. Yeah, I rarely see audio interfaces with 1, because usually if they're designed for like musicians, so you have 1 for microphone and 1 for instrument like a guitar or whatever. And this is the pro of XLR microphones. So the cost, upfront cost, it's more expensive, because if you're buying a interface for like $200 plus a mic for another 100, that's like 300, which is 3 times as the UMIC. Yeah, so it is more expensive. You can get it cheaper if you're gonna be smart and gonna buy secondhand. Maybe take the Behringer not Focusrite, maybe the Behringer mic, so you can get it for like maybe $100 combo. So you can mix and match vary. But the biggest pro of this setup is that you can have what is called a loop back. So with this, I do have a cable made, and a lot of people ask about this cable. What kind of cable is that? So this is a loopback cable. Let me just show you very quick. Yeah. So the loopback cable works that it's all these 3 connectors is the same. So plus, 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 all 3 of them, and ground, ground, ground. And what it does, on one interface, you plug in this, and the other end is going into your DSP, and the other input, you have your microphone. And what it does, when you're measuring, especially when we tune, we do time alignment with impulse response. So to measure impulse response, you need a loopback system, loopback cable. So the same signal that goes from the interface goes into the interface back and into your DSP. And with this setup, you can measure impulse response properly. You cannot measure impulse response with a USB microphone or this one, because the audio device, audio interface that inside is different from the one that's in the laptop. And you have between measurements a thing which is called clock drift. Basically, that means that your measurements are drifting in time one from another. And this one, since you have direct feedback loop into the audio interface, it can make those measurements properly. So if you know, the very, very expensive audio interface is JL's Max. So JL Max, the system, it's called a system, but basically it's an extremely fancy one of these interface with 5 mics, just like these XLR mics, and it comes in a package, but it's exactly the same. If you would have an audio interface with 6 channels, 1 for loopback, and 5 of these microphones, you can have exactly the same mic array as JL Max. The only thing, you need software to use it. But I use it with REW. So, to summarize, cheap. Andy's microphone is not cheap, but it's better quality than this for sure. Especially the audio USB card, because you can plug it into, as I mentioned, you can plug it into the laptop, but most laptops are old and their sound card is very poor quality. It doesn't do above 48K, so you have to buy this one. And this, again, is cheap. For us, measuring cars, for tuning the car, is plenty good enough. I promise you, it's plenty, especially if you're starting. Yeah, so cheap option. If you don't know where you're gonna go with the tuning thing, if you just want to try, $30. Buy it, use it, you're gonna be happy. I promise you. A lot of people use this mic. Second option, USB microphone, plug and play, simple to use, 1 cable, a bit bigger form factor, but a bit heavier if you need to wave it around for a bit longer. But again, extremely nice and useful microphone. And this is the cream of the crop. This is mix and match. So You can have different interface, different microphone, you can have more channels, you can have a mic array. It does loop back with the cable. Most of the time the internal DAC is going to be a higher quality. If the interface is higher quality, the internal DAC is going to be a higher quality than all of these. So I'm not sure. I think the UMIC, I don't know if it says on the box. Yeah, so sample rate 48K. Again, for us, for tuning cars, is plenty enough. This goes up to 192K. So do you need it? You don't need it? I don't know. But this is cream of the crop. You can get this setup, mix and match, for as cheap as $100 if you choose your components wisely and you buy secondhand. Or if you buy brand new and good stuff, you can spend literally thousands of dollars or pounds on this setup. Yeah, cool. So this is the overview, how they look, how they how do you use them and everything. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some measurements and I'm gonna compare them, because all of them, apart from the 90, comes with the calibration file. But again, as I mentioned, I have a calibration file for this one. So I'm very interested myself, how do they compare and measure between themselves. And I'm gonna be measuring in my car. Let me actually show you. It's right here. So I will be measuring a sweep, not an average, not RTA, but a sweep. I'm gonna place the microphone like here on the headrest, and I'm gonna make sure that the tip of the microphone is gonna be in one specific place. I'm gonna mark it somehow with a tape or whatever, and I will make sure that all the microphones that I'm using is gonna be 4 different microphones. They will have the tip in exactly the same spot, and it's gonna be a sweep. It's not gonna be a RTA, or maybe RTA because the USB mic. We'll see. I don't know. But the plan is to have exactly in the same place, playing the system, measuring, and comparing the frequency response. First of all, what we get, how it's different with the calibration file. And the second thing is floor noise, because floor noise is really important. Yeah, it's a mess. I know, I was making stuff. Floor noise is extremely important. And this Dayton microphone that I have, sorry, is this one. I know it has a high floor noise. That's why I got that one. And because I did compare it. Sorry guys for that. I did compare it with this, and I think it was like 10 dB difference in floor noise. So to take correct readings, and especially down low, because floor noise in a frequency response, it rises at the bottom end. So especially now when I have IB sub that goes down to 15 hertz, I need the floor noise to be as low as possible. So floor noise is important, because with a lower floor noise, you're gonna have a more accurate reading. Cool. All this is done. Now I'm going to take the measurements and we're going to jump into the laptop and see what I measured. And these are all the measurements. So what I did for every microphone, I made 3 measurements and just double checked my sanity if all the 3 measurements are exactly the same, and they were. The only differences between the 3 measurements of a single microphone was in the floor noise, because I have some like birds chirping and a car goes by once in a while, and sometimes it's raining, so the only differences were there. But like for the measurements themselves, all 3 measurements from all different mics was exactly the same. So these are the measurements of all 4 mics. I have 5 of them, because the Nadi that came with no calibration file, I made a measurement with no calibration file as well, and with the calibration file. So I have 2 measurements for 1 microphone. But all the other ones have calibrations files. The UMIC came with 2 calibration files, the 0 degree and 90 degree. And I loaded the 0 degree because I was measuring kind of on axis, and I wanted to match all the other ones. So first let's have a look at the floor noise, and then we're going to compare the measurements. So the floor noise is the bottom lines, which is these, and you can see we have 1, 2 at the bottom and 2 at the top. So the dark blue line, which is this one, is the EMM, which is the Dayton EMM. I got it very cheap, and I did mention before that it has the highest floor noise. This spike at 170, 180 is something in a car buzzing. When you put an ignition on, for some reason it buzzes, so just ignore the spike. It's not there. As you can see, the floor noise is 10. So I had to decrease the scale, because if I have a scale at 5 dB, I cannot see everything. So I decreased the scale to 10 dB, 50, 60, 40. So 10 dB scale, yeah. At the lower end, like 30, 40, 50, you have almost 15 to 20 dB difference in floor noise. Here the floor noise goes down and it matches the rest above 10K. But this floor noise is extortionate, and a lot of my readings were influenced by that. So EMM has the highest floor noise. I'm not saying all Dayton EMMs have this issue, uh, but I met one guy on Facebook. He contacted me as well. He had some floor noise issues as well. So it might be just a faulty mic. Don't quote me for that, because I bought it secondhand. It measures nice, but it has a lot of floor noise. And the fact that I had the NADI connected to it as well, and it has the lowest floor noise. So it's not the audio interface, it's the microphone itself. So this one has the highest floor noise. Then the second one is the blue line, which is the Dayton EMM, the small little 3.5mm jack mic. It has a external USB card, and you see like 10 dB difference between the floor noise, and here at the bottom it kind of evens out. So this is the second one. And then my NADI and UMIC have a very, very comparable floor noise. This here between like 50 and 70 peak is just a car went by, and this peak is birds chirping, so ignore this. This is flat. The only peak is this one. Both of these have the same floor noise. Yeah, the lowest, the Nadi $99 mic, and the UMIC $90 mic. So this is the floor noise. Now let's have a look at the frequency response measurements. For this one, we can increase the resolution a tiny bit. So this is made in 1/48 with no smoothing, and it's very difficult to tell any differences, apart from, you can see here, like at 17K something, you can see the difference, like red, green, you here differentiates, and the bottom end below 25 hertz. See, this is the biggest difference, and the biggest difference is, like, let's say I'm measuring my IB system. I have an IB subwoofer. So for me to accurately measure down to 10, 15 hertz, it would be very nice. 20, it has to be accurate. But even at 20, I have a 5 dB difference between the lowest one is the EMM6, which has the highest floor noise, so it might be influenced by that. And the highest one is UMIC. Yeah. So these are the differences. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply some smoothing because it's extremely difficult to see anything. Let's start with 1/6. Apply. There we go. And we can see there are some differences. The main differences, again, at the top end, like at 20K between a few mics, we have like 5 dB difference. And bear in mind, all of these are using calibration files. So even if I take the same manufacturer, the Dayton one, so let's compare the EMM, the 3.5mm, and the IMM. And both of them have differences. They came from the same manufacturer, and both of them have calibration files. And as you can see, both of them measure slightly different, especially at the top end. 1 dB here, 1 dB there, and at the bottom end. However, if I just assume that this EMM that I bought secondhand is faulty, I'm just going to remove it, and I'm going to have this. So now let's compare the NADI. Actually, let's have a look at NADI before calibration and after calibration. Yeah, so there's slight differences. Again, at the top end, slightly, maybe 3 dB. And at the bottom end, well, 2 dB here. But 1 dB plus minus. Yeah. So let's remove this NADI without calibration. So I assume that this NADI with calibration file that was done by Adam, I assume it should be the most accurate one. But let's compare it to the IMM. There's big differences, big massive differences. You can see it measures less at the bottom end and measures more at the top end. And the UMIC that I probably would trust more, because UMIC and NADI has the lowest floor noise. So let's have a look at these. Yeah, so IMM, it kind of falls off because you can see it goes above these two. If I remove it, these are measuring very, very similar, 20 to, I want to say 14K. So this difference, I don't know why it's there, but in the rest of the area, we have literally plus minus 1, which is fine. Let me have a look at this. No, this is off. Yeah. So I know that both of them measuring from 20 until 14 and a half, 15K until 14. They match almost perfect. 1 dB here, 1 dB there. So I can trust both of them. Now, what do you think? Which would be I'm gonna put the floor noise as well, NADI floor noise and UMIC floor noise, and I'm gonna, there we go, so we can see. Aha, the floor noise is different. So NADI is red. Let me change the floor noise to red so we can have a different color, because now they look exactly the same. There we go. So NADI, it drops off, but it has less floor noise here, and the UMIC floor noise goes up and the response as well goes up. So can we assume that it kind of adds up and the UMIC measures more because it has slightly more floor noise, and the NADI measures less because it has less noise at, let's say, like 10 hertz. Like for 10 hertz, maybe it's not that important, but 15, there's like, what, 4 dB difference here. So, but 20 is fine. So, which one would you recommend me to use? Should I use the NADI or should I use the UMIC? I'm leaning towards the NADI because I can use it with a Focusrite audio interface, and I can measure the impulse response, so I can do more with it. Again, this floor noise is just something, a car passing by, ignore it. So I will be using the NADI and I will have the UMIC for fast measurements. Yeah, cool. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.